Hello, thank you for joining me. Welcome to today's class. This is Search Like a Pro, library databases for beginners. This is basically going to take you through the databases. There's a few databases that we provide at the library and just kind of the reasons why you should maybe think about using databases in the future for your searches. So we can get started straight away. My name is Dermot. Thank you for watching me today. So first, what is a database? Now, you may be asking yourself, like Google, is that a database? What is a database? Simply put, a database, as you can see, is an indexed collection of magazine, journal, newspaper articles, abstracts, a whole bunch of other information. It's a lot of papers written, peer-reviewed articles, kind of articles straight from the source, and they're often checked for accuracy and reliability by the publishers, and then they are then licensed for distribution in online electronic format. Now, it's basically whenever you search anything on one of our databases, you will get articles and journals that are licensed to be used by our database. They're typically, you wouldn't be able to find them anywhere else. That's one of the advantages, obviously, is that they've typically been checked for accuracy and reliability, which is what we all would like. And now, what is the main difference between using a library database and just using search engines? So a database is typically, it's organized collection of information. So as you can see, it's indexed, it's published, it's edited, it's often typically scholarly, and often databases are used for educational use. And the library database is typically, it's more focused than just a normal web search. If you search something on Google, you're basically searching the whole internet. If you just want to, and that's fine. If you just want to know what the time is somewhere else, just look for a specific website, just looking for an image of something, that's fine. But if you're looking for very good, reliable information, sometimes it can be hit or miss of what you get. And it's always nice to have something that you know that you can trust. As you can see, we say that databases, the publishers often check for contents and accuracy, so they know what they want there and what is good. Whereas Google more or less just shows everything that it pulls up. It'll show everything that it wants whenever you search it. So, and you may ask yourself, why can't I just use a search engine? There's no stopping you. You can often find good free material on a search engine anywhere in the world. But it is when you're using Google or Yahoo or Bing, you are searching information from billions of sites, all types of sites, good and bad. You know if the information is trustworthy, if it's real, since anyone can really publish online, and you may not be able to find peer-reviewed articles like you would in a database. They may be outdated, it might be inaccurate, it might be biased. It's very hard to tell with a normal Google search. With databases, it's easy to find who is coming up with the studies, who is making the information known, who is writing it, who is paid for it. It's all very easy to see and very reliable. Also, in addition, that databases, whenever you search, it's just the information. Whenever you go to an article, it's just a PDF file of the article. If you ever go to an article, maybe if you find on Google, it's a New York Times article or a Washington Post article that's about a study, it may give you a pop-up ad saying maybe you should sign in, maybe you should pay for this. Oh, sorry, this is actually not free. So that is something we always look for. And you may be in an information bubble. What this means is, it has been said that search algorithm, when you search in a search engine, you're basically using their algorithm. And they're using this algorithm in order to provide you what they think that you want to know. And they are using the other algorithm in a way to provide you the best information that they think is out there. And a lot of the time, they want you to click what they show you. So they will oftentimes use your kind of your past search history, the cookies that it comes up on websites, things you've searched before, things you've shared on your Gmail or your profile to show you things that you would like. Just because every time you use a search engine, they remember you, and they eventually over time they start to build kind of a digital version of you in some sense, and in that way, so they know what you've clicked before and what you've clicked after. Maybe you prefer the New York Times over Washington Post. So every time you search something and it sees that you always click New York Times articles, well, it's going to learn that we don't need to show them Washington Post because the person never clicks on them. So we'll just show them what New York Times. As you can see, third-party studies have shown that Google sometimes, this is a few years ago, so it might have changed, but in the past they've shown that unique search results for different users who use identical terms. So depending on who you are, let's say if someone just says, just Google it, for an article that they find, you might not find that article because it just might not be readily available for you to show up. So always something to keep in mind. So let's go over just some of what resources do the databases yield. So what type of information is retrieved? So magazine, journals, newspaper articles, books or book chapters, conference proceedings, papers, and technical publications. These are all very, very thought over, very, very focused material that is typically used for answering your questions. Whereas in just a search engine, it'll just find anything. It'll be an article from it'll be a random article from years ago. It might be a Yahoo answer or something of that sort. It'll just be anything that they can find that they may think is relevant to your search term. Organization. The content it's very well organized, indexed by librarians and publishers, so that's easier to find. I'll show you later on when we'll go over the websites how it's easy to kind of go over each database that you want to use, how to break it down, how to make sure that you can really focus your search into something that you wanted. So basically, let's say if you wanted some study on the effects of brown bread and you go to Google, it'll show you everything that it can find to something about brown bread. But you really want to know stuff about America. It'll show you, so in a database, you can break it down into North America, whereas Google, it might just show you things that say brown bread, but the study might have been done in Pakistan or somewhere else in Europe. And then I don't really want to know that. I want to know what the study says for America. Google, it's hard to do that because that's not as indexed and organized, but on databases it is. The review process. So the information in all these are typically published in groups and goes through review processes, and which means that they will always double check if something is correct. Every time you go onto an article, let's say if something is redacted, and if you go to find it again, they will update it to say like the information this is actually correct, or there was something here that they actually found out later, or something that was changed. Whereas in Google, they wouldn't update, as I say, how often is it updated? Regularly. The things you find in Google, they wouldn't update that web page that you found. They might do maybe in some websites, but other websites, they might just make a new page. They might just leave that page as is, so it might not be true anymore, and it'll stay there until the website is gone. And that also is a problem, that sometimes you click on things on Google and the website no longer exists. So it's hard in some times to really kind of figure out, is everything on here as reliable as I think it is? And I feel on databases, what you will find out that it is pretty easy to figure out if you can rely on the information there or not. Cost. So databases are not free. Now, don't worry, you will not be paying anything out of pocket to use these databases. The libraries themselves purchase them, and this will vary from library to library. The North Shore Library obviously pays for specific databases that it thinks that would serve its consumer base. If you live in another community in Milwaukee County, if you live in Milwaukee City even, your databases will vary from library to library, community to community. If you know that there is a database that you would like to use, maybe as reference you would say, that we don't provide in this library, you can always go to the libraries in that community and they will typically give you an option to use the database in the library. So even if you don't live in that community, you would still be able to use it just by going to that community. So the databases are typically any academic researcher, they would always just check databases first in order to kind of give an in-depth view. If you ever heard, if you've ever written a thesis or some article, you would always do a biography review, and you would go over articles in order to build up your argument first. And that's typically what a database is very good to do. You can get very, very specific, you can get a lot of very specific studies on certain things that you want to know. And you can really build up a good depth, good breadth of knowledge for your research. And then also you can implement a lot of search strategies for using databases, like keywords, specific fields, looking for specific authors. As I said before, maybe you're looking for specific countries, breaking it down to specific years and dates. And then you can also use Boolean operators. I won't go over Boolean today. So now that we've gone over what the basics of databases are, I'll just go through some of the examples of the databases that you can find on the North Shore Library website. So this is the website you would come to, micfus.org, North Shore Library, and you'd come to here, and let's go to databases. And then that would lead you to our database collection. So down here is some of the main ones. I won't go through all of them. I'll just go through some of the main ones that you will most likely use. You will most likely use any of these ones, the BadgerLink, EBSCOhost, which will show a full collection of all the databases just in one place. Or you could go directly to Consumer Reports if you're ever looking to article reviews. Another one of my favorites is Auto Repair Source, which is just a database of car repairs and just guidelines into repairing any kind of vehicle that you can think of, any motor vehicle. Market Watch Advisor is very good for tracking of stock and getting more information on separate stocks. And then further down here, I won't go over these today, but the newspaper collection that we have at the library. So first of all, let's go through EBSCOhost, and I can show you what that looks like. Now, since I'm in the library currently looking at all these, it remembers me, it knows where I am, so it'll open everything automatically. When you're in any library, the databases will open automatically. But when you are, let's say, if you're at home and you open one of these databases, you will need to log in with your library card number and PIN. But if you're in the library, it'll open up automatically. So when you first click onto EBSCOhost, it'll show you all the databases here in one simple thing just to say what they currently have. So there's a bunch of different ones. There's health source ones, there's a history ones, there's humanities, some more medical ones, newspaper source, as I said before, kind of regional business news, science, consumer health, just news, real-time news across the world. That's from the Associated Press and all those type of people. Open dissertations, that's very good if you ever want to look for full-length studies. Open dissertations is a good place to start to find like full-length theses. So let's go look at one random. Let's go to the first. Let's go to Business Source Premier. So business research database, full text, over 2,000 journals, full text, a lot of peer review titles. That's kind of really what you really kind of, it's good to use the library for, is just these peer review titles. So let's go business source premier. So this is what it looks like. You say you're searching business source premier. If you want to change it and add another one, you can go to choose databases, and you can use more than one. So I could just like go ahead and click a few of these just to see what, like if you want to search a few at the same time, you can just go through them all. Or you could just select all, and then as you said, like selecting them all will give you a lot of results. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's the best idea to do that. I would say you would maybe pick one or two just to really kind of focus your search. So let's click business source premier again. Perfect. Okay, so let's say we want to look at information about Dell computers. So this will give you everything about any research that they have access to. It'll show you everything they have about Dell. It'll show you periodical articles, a lot of periodicals. Let's see what we can break it down. Let's say if we want to go to product reviews, let's look at that. So you want good non-biased product reviews. Here is something from PC World, a good periodical that you can use. And this is where it's nice when you click on something, you'll get a full access to the author, you'll see the source straight away, where it came from, how many words, and also give you a chance to read it, listen to it. But we can just click PDF full text here, and this will open the PDF for us. There we go. There's a PDF from PC World access to you, because usually PC World, you might have to pay for it or get it somewhere else. So let's go back and see if we can find any other thing. Let's say if you wanted to know, let's say you wanted to hear more about actual Michael Dell. Let's go Michael Dell. So, and straight away we can find, let's say, a Bloomberg article about Michael Dell. Let's see what this is. So you see a source from Bloomberg from 2021, Dell Technologies. This is a Bloomberg Business Week. So, and also Bloomberg Business Week. It's one of those, one of the things that you typically have to pay for, but obviously here it's free for you. Just a Bloomberg article about interview with Michael Dell. Let's go back to our results. Here is another Forbes article. This is from Forbes.com. This might be one of the ones that you have to pay for. Now, this one doesn't have a PDF. It has a HTML full text. So you just click on that, and then this is what it would look like here. So, yeah. So that is typically EBSCOhost. It's pretty simple. I'll show you how to break down further. So let's say we had that Michael Dell. If you wanted an article from him from the past, so you see something here from 1987 to 2021. Let's see what articles from 1991, from 87 to 91. So here is a Forbes article from 1991, The Kid Who Turned Computers into Commodities. So this is an earlier article about Michael Dell. So, and these, typically when you look for websites, they would probably show you the like if you do Google search on Michael Dell, you might be able to find the most recent interview that we found there from Bloomberg Business Week pretty easily. But something like this from 1991, it would be pretty hard to come by just on Google searches, because usually these are no longer available. But here it is, just readily, easily available for you. results. So, and also we can also, let's say if you wanted something by a publisher, if you want to look for a Fortune magazine article, you can see that you can go down here to publication, and you can just click the one Fortune article and see what that was. And here's an article a little bit about Michael Delville in this one. Let's go back. Let's just search them again and let's start again. So let's say if we wanted to on English, let's go back to normal. Let's change it again. Let's get rid of that again. So when we have everything up to date, obviously we can see what type of source types we want. So we have all these magazines, newspapers, product reviews, industry profiles, books, market research reports. So there's a lot of various things you can use. You can go for the more magazines, just more general articles, or the more in-depth reports, something like that. So, and also if you wanted to maybe look for something about Dell written somewhere else, maybe written in China and India and Australia, see what those are, you would just go into geography and you would break it down even further. So you see, like, let's see, double check what India has to say. Double check would. Then we have articles about microfinance. There we go, 900K in EdTech, growth genius. Yeah, so there's lots there in EBSCOhost for you to play around with. Just kind of anything you can think of. You can really find some good, good information, good, really like focused information on EBSCOhost rather than just general Google searches. So let's close this out, and I can go through some of the other databases pretty quickly. Let's just look at the consumer reports one quickly. So when you go into consumer reports, you'll see here it has all issues and articles. So let's say if you wanted something from 2016, you just click 2016 and it would give you all the actual issue numbers. So this is kind of the ones where you kind of would have to figure out, or you have to know what article, if you were looking for a specific product and you know it was in a certain month of a certain year, you would kind of have to know that ahead of time. Here, if you look at the articles from that month, this is everything that they have. Something about ice cream, solar power, something about here, streaming, Zika. So yeah, very good. So yeah, so consumer reports, it's already indexed for you. So you would literally have to go down all the way down to 1985, and you'll see they'll have everything indexed. Like they already have the first copy of 2022 available for us. You can see problem baby food action update, fighting for fair insurance, and like consumer reports is one of those ones where we do have print copies, but if you're not able to get to the library, this is a good option. Back, and let's go down to auto repair source. This is another one of my favorites that a lot of people don't know about. This is specifically for repair manuals for motor vehicles. So you see up here, auto repair source. So what you would do, you would just think of your car. Let's say if you have a 2016 Nissan Rogue. Let's say if you want to look for repair manuals for 2016 Nissan Rogue. So you're down here to Nissan. You would select, go down to your Rogue. Let's sit there. Let's go standard luxury. And there's only one option for the engine, and then everything down here, we'll see. Let's say if you have an issue with fluid intake. Click this fluid. And down here, it would give you charts and just kind of instructions for whatever you want. So let's say if you wanted to, into your interior pollens, let's say you needed to fix a door trim. You just click door trim, and it would have the instructions, and it would give you even the figures. So suitable figure, you click on the figure and it will give you the full figure there. Obviously, the older the car is, it's kind of fun. Let's say if you have an older car, let's say if you have an 85, let's say we have Buick. Let's go Regal. Let's go there. And you had the V8. You need issues with the brakes. Oh, I don't know what happened there. So let's go back. 85. Buick. Regal. Okay, so it's a different one, but whatever. So let's go. Let's say if you want to do something with electrical, generator, starter motor. Let's go. Let's say tires. Let's say you want to do give specifications on tires. Let's go down here. Find anything for. Want to brake bleed? There's a nice bleeding sequence. So if you have a very older car and you would like to try maybe do something yourself, this is a good place to really kind of find something that might be useful for you. And then the last one I'm going to look at, let's go see if our Market Watch advisor. Now this is specifically for stocks and for mutual funds and index funds. It gives ratings about everything. So let's take, for example, let's think of a stock. What's in the news? AMC. That was always in the news. So let's look at AMC. Let's go. AMC Entertainment Holdings. This one actually doesn't have a rating on it. Let's look for one that has a rating. So let's look at GameStop. GameStop's in the news. Also doesn't have a rating. Let's look at Penn. Penn National Gaming. There we go. So if you were to just Google Penn stock, it wouldn't give you as much information as it will get here. So let's Google Penn stock. Penn National Gaming. It'll mainly just give you a chart. It'll mainly give you a chart. You can find out more about it. It'll give you a chart and it'll give you all the ratios and some articles about it. On MarketScope, it'll give you a rating. It'll give you its target price. It'll give you a full breakdown of everything. So it's like display. Let's if you want to look at a different way, hollow candle. Let's say if you want to do a volume candle, there will be volume trading that day. And then it will give you its risk, its evaluations, its quality, and it would also, if you go down further, it would give you its street opinions. A lot of people saying buy and to hold, only one person saying sell. And down here, it'll give you a good business overview of Penn. So I think a very, very useful thing that people should use if you are into trading or if you are into looking at stocks. It's very nice. And even you can look at funds. So it's a fund. Gives you a fund research. Let's look at the Fidelity. Let's go. There's a random mutual fund. Gives you a little star rating, a price. It'll give you its cost, its reward, its risk, and it'll also give you a breakdown of its main holdings. So yes, and that's Penn. So that are the main databases I would usually recommend to people that a lot of people have asked for, and I think they do provide a lot there. There's Ancestry, which is pretty simple. So that is all for me today. I just want to say thank you to everyone for watching. If you have any more questions about any of the databases, please try to contact us here at the library. We'll answer any questions we have. And make sure to like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and check out any of our other videos that we have available. So once again, thank you for watching.